on now. 682-1270. News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter's show. Welcome back to the program. And joining us in studio now, I have it all written down, so I want to make sure I get it right. We have Dave Moss. He's the vice president of the Kentucky Coal Association and also president of Friends of Coal Kentucky. And we also have Judy Colgan. She's the executive director of the Rocky Mountain Coal Mine Institute. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the studio.
Good morning.
Okay, so I guess tell us a little bit about what you're doing here in Gillette. You were at the city council meeting last night and kind of getting the word out about coal, right?
Correct. The Rocky Mountain Coal Mining Institute has decided to start the initiative of Friends of Coal West to bring the successful Friends of Coal program to the West. That they had started it in the East, in West Virginia, and then Dave has been instrumental in making Friends of Coal Kentucky a huge success. And so they've encouraged us to bring it to the West, and he's out helping us get it started. We are in the middle of coal country, so we understand we have a lot of Friends of Coal here, but it's more about building a base of support through people who are your neighbors, your friends, who sell gas at the gas station, who do different things, who might not be involved in an association type situation, but they do want to support the industry because they do have friends who work in the coal mines and who are part of the industry, and they also see the value that that industry brings to their lives.
Yeah, and I think some of it's probably not that common around here. I think most people around here are pretty appreciative and understand how important the coal mining industry is to Campbell County and Gillette, but there probably are some people around here that maybe work in the service industry or something else that's kind of not really related to coal that might take it for granted. And I think it would be a good idea to kind of get the education out that coal really is the base of everything that goes on around here.
No, I think you're correct. And but those folks in the service industry, those folks who work in restaurants, who work in hotels, who sell gasoline on a daily basis, who make lunches for the coal miners, those are pretty much the indirect jobs that we talk about a lot in the industry. Of course, you have the direct mining jobs, but the indirect jobs really are the folks that really Friends of Coal kind of caters to, because there's an interesting person back from West Virginia when Friends of Coal started back in 2001. His name was Warren Hilton, and he was a coal operator. And he made a great point that there's a lot of folks out there in the community that would love to help us if we just asked them. And hence kind of started the emergence and the creation of the Friends of Coal logo. I know that you do see a lot of stickers here in the city of Gillette. We do have a lot of Friends of Coal here, like Judy said, but Friends of Coal is about building that umbrella organization, all of those indirect industries that support the coal industry. And also, more importantly, Friends of Coal, by displaying that emblem, says plainly, I support cheap electricity, affordable, low-cost electricity. And that's why we encourage everybody to sign up on Friends of Coal West.
Yeah, and Friends of Coal, it's not really a lobbying organization per se. It's more just an education organization, kind of just get the word out about coal.
You're exactly right. Friends of Coal is not whatsoever. That's mainly what the Mining Association and coal associations are for, whom I work for back in Kentucky, and Judy has the Rocky Mountain group out of Denver, Colorado. But Friends of Coal pretty much is that warm and fuzzy emblem that signifies that I support cheap electricity.
Yeah, and that's, anybody that's taken a basic marketing class knows that you need some kind of, you need a recognizable logo. And that's probably the most common logo you'll see on cars around here. And I guess starting up Friends of Coal West is just an attempt to kind of make that even more widespread.
You're correct. And some of the successes we've had in Kentucky where we noticed that there's definitely a need to help organize out here in Western United States, of course, is some of the issues dealing with there's been a lot of national attention brought to the shipments of coal to other western states. And a lot of times you'll have folks back in West Virginia and Kentucky, and we'll have an issue in a neighboring state, and they'll ask, how in the world can we possibly help? And so we can activate the Friends of Coal Army pretty much and actually do community rallies, do community events, public hearings, some way of showing support to educate the neighboring population that might be in a non-coal field area and alert them to exactly what's going on.
And this isn't an organization, it doesn't cost anything to join or anything like that either, does it?
No, it's absolutely free. You go to our website, www.friendsofcoalwest.org, and you can sign up, you can request stickers, and then we build the database when there is an issue or something that we want to inform our Friends of Coal group about, then we can send out an email blast to them, and there is a list also of how you would like to participate. If you would like to make phone calls, do emails, put a sign in your yard, there are different options of support that you can also list on that website.
Oh, and that's always, it's always good to kind of have that network of people that can kind of mobilize, and you're not asking for any money, you're just asking. If there is an issue that comes up, and I know you guys aren't a lobbying organization, you don't really take hard stands on political issues, but like the EPA haze regulations, if it comes to a point where we need somebody to mobilize for that, you would be able to kind of send out an email blast and tell everybody to contact their representatives and that kind of stuff.
I would think, and here's an experience back from Kentucky. We did have a public hearing, an EPA public hearing last summer back in 2012 on some backlogged surface mining permits. And so the EPA said we're going to have a public hearing on a certain night from 7 to 10 o'clock. And what Friends of Coal did in that aspect is they didn't organize the folks to actually go and solicit comments for the public hearing. What Friends of Coal did is they actually had a rally 2 hours before the public hearing to entice folks to come. We feed them, we hang out with them, we socialize, give them a sticker or a t-shirt, give them some more literature about the coal industry, and then encourage the folks who showed up to the community rally, if you want to come participate, you can. But once again, there is that line of distinction that Friends of Coal is not necessarily a rallying or lobbying group to go in and rally against the federal government or the EPA. That's more the Coal Association.
But you try to make it a little bit fun as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good. It's good public relations work. I mean, putting a good face on the coal industry.
That's exactly right.
And Lord knows we need that these days. I mean, you got enough people trying to put a bad face on the industry. So.
And I will tell you also too, what makes this endeavor unique here in Western United States is Judy's organization. Judy's group goes into 8 different western states, whereas I'm responsible just for Friends of Coal and just solely Kentucky. And then, of course, the Coal Association in West Virginia is solely for West Virginia. And we have a chapter in Virginia and Ohio and Tennessee. And so, but in Judy's group, she is going to have a much larger footprint and a much greater opportunity to spread the message into 8 different states.
I'm going to be doing a lot of driving.
Possibly.
Well, okay, and we're actually up against our first break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing here. Maybe we'll take a few calls as well. So if you want to stick around, we'll be right back. News Talk 1270, KIML, Don Carpenter Show. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
From Washington to Cheyenne to right here in Gillette, Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270, KIML. You're listening to Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. Call Don right now, 682-1270.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. And if you're just tuning in studio we have Dave Moss and Judy Colgan from Friends of Coal West. friendsofcoalwest.org is the website if you want to go and join. No charge at all. And I guess during the first break, we kind of talked about, what you guys are doing here in Wyoming and, what Friends of Coal does. And, of course, if anybody has any questions for Dave or Judy, 682-1270 is the number, 682-1270. I guess the next question is, once you kind of get a foothold, what would be the next step once you kind of get things started here?
I would think that to take some time to build up the email database and to communicate the message, to get people to sign up in the neighboring states. Denver, Colorado, where her organization's based, has been the focal point for a while. But we also want to start in Wyoming. But then Judy will necessarily have to move to the neighboring states and organize. It could be, the sky's the limit. Do you have community events, a variety of stuff in neighboring states? Undetermined at this time. But right now we're here mainly just to spread the word that Friends of Coal does exist. There's a way to sign up, free of charge. Please get involved. And that's pretty much it for the short-term future.
Right, and I guess then it's going to be the entire West. So I guess it's Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, Montana.
Yes, our member states are North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Each state has expressed quite a bit of interest in promoting the Friends of Coal opportunity because they see the value in building the base of support behind them. But our 8 member states are our initial focus. However, we do have companies that are building the ports in Washington and Oregon where the coal will be shipped, and so we do have people on the ground there who are supporting the efforts as well.
Yeah, and I think that those places might be even a more important place to kind of get the word out, because around here it's a very friendly atmosphere, and of course we need everybody around here to be on board with it. But Washington and Oregon, they're a thorn in our sides these days. And so, it would be good to kind of get somebody over there and say, hey, you need to get on the case of your politicians here because, they're doing you a disservice, because it would help those states as well.
Well, but it goes back to the point and why you should sign up. If the more folks that sign up from Gillette and the surrounding communities of Wyoming and Wyoming as a whole, you grow that collective voice, and so when Wyoming speaks, it speaks with a much larger footprint, and of course, then coupled with the other 7 states and organization, you then have a pretty strong reaching effect that you can reach over and communicate, and folks then will be pretty much forced to listen when you have tens of thousands of folks coming from those 8 states.
And it's more of a grassroots thing as well. Everybody knows someone that lives in another state. I know people live all over the country, and that you go to visit them and you have a Friends of Coal sticker on your card and they ask you what it's about, you can kind of explain.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
Exactly. And actually, I kind of want to go back and talk a little bit about how we came to this point, how we are here today. Judy and I both have member companies, coal companies, and vendors that we represent, and we have a large number of cross-pollination of board members who serve both in the East and in the West. And so we had a couple of folks that were living in Utah, and this is about maybe a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and had gone to a University of Utah football game. And this individual in particular went and had, with him and his wife, went to the football game, took his ticket to the turnstile, had it torn, and was handed a pamphlet when he walked through the turnstiles, went and sat down, started watching the game, and he pulled out the pamphlet out of his back pocket and looked at it, and it was a anti-coal messaging from the Sierra Club. And he looked at it and goes, wait a second here, I'm a graduate at University of Utah at a football game. They have a mining engineering program here, and they're allowing the Sierra Club to help organize and educate folks at our football games on anti-coal type themes, messaging. And so that kind of really irritated him quite a bit. And he started talking to some of the folks in the university and said, well, yeah. And so he came to one of our board meetings at the Kentucky Coal Association and said, we really need to educate the folks in Western United States on where their electricity comes from. And that pretty much was the first statement. And he says, I have an idea. And that kind of led us to Judy. Yeah,
and I think that's for one thing, I'm actually surprised that something like that would happen in Utah, but I guess it's kind of spreading around everywhere, and no place is immune to. Even here in Wyoming, I actually was looking at one of the local newspapers' websites, and you just look at the comments section on any story about coal, and there's always someone posting something, and that's the kind of thing you need people to just get out there at the grassroots level and kind of combat the false images that are being put out about coal.
And I'll throw out some numbers for you here. $100 million. That is the amount of money the Sierra Club has put behind a law firm in San Francisco, and that San Francisco is dedicated to suing and stopping any air quality permit that is trying to be being asked upon to issue for a coal-fired power plant. So you have one law firm with $100 million dedicated nationwide to stop the construction of new coal-fired power plants. That is a lot of money. They're putting a lot of money into stopping coal mining throughout the United States. We have to organize and build that grassroots army to be more effective to combat the large sums of money that's being generated and raised from the Sierra Club.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. Anybody, I mean, have you ever been to Dry Fork Station? Have you ever taken a tour of it?
I have not.
I mean, it's one of the last coal-fired plants that was built in this country. It's, if not the last. Nobody's quite sure exactly when the last one was built, but I just took a tour of it last week, and it's just amazing how technologically advanced and clean everything is. And if just more people came to this area and saw how the reclamation efforts are done with the mining and the plant, how clean it is. I mean, there's no visible emissions. They have state-of-the-art equipment. It's just amazing how much effort is being put into it. And it's sometimes it's all for naught because people just have this, image of smokestacks blowing up black smoke, and it's not like that anymore.
You have to you have to give credit to the Sierra Club and the fact that they're not afraid of going into coal mining states, large coal producing states, and trying to organize. I know at the University of Kentucky they have started a Beyond Coal movement on campus and trying to educate a lot of the young and impressionable students there on campus, and so they'll have rallies and protests against coal. So these guys with the amount of money backing them, Mayor Bloomberg from the New York City giving $50 million to the Beyond Coal campaign. I mean, these guys are now feel emboldened to go in and spend some of this money and attack and organize in coal-producing states. So, crazy enough, you actually have to go into your coal-producing states now and organize and make sure people know, because you automatically assume everybody's a friend of coal. Everybody's already with this. Well, you quickly find out that people need a lot more education than you think on the issues.
It's actually kind of funny. I actually have an acquaintance that actually works for the Sierra Club, and she went to Western Kentucky and works for the Sierra Club. I can't put two and two together with that, but it's a true story. I mean, those guys. I mean, they really are. They are fearless. I mean, and they know what they're doing. I mean, they have a lot of money behind what they're doing, and they're very, very well organized, and they're very smart about what they're doing. And it's worked. I mean, look at Washington and Oregon. I mean, blocking these shipments going out. It's and I know you guys don't really do a lot of policy stuff, but it's that kind of stuff that the grassroots help could prevent.
You're exactly right. And on the flip side of that, they're very well organized, and that's why we have to do our due diligence in educating and helping to organize Friends of Coal West out here so that we can then combat some of the anti-coal rhetoric that they're espousing.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, we're up against the bottom of the hour break. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and, maybe we'll talk to you a little bit more. And, of course, if anybody has any questions, feel free to call in after the break. News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. We'll be right back.
Have an event you'd like to promote on the show? Email Don at doncarpenter@basonsradio.com. Call Don right now, 682-1270.
News Talk 1270 KIML, Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. It's kind of funny. We were talking during the break, and it really is a small world. I actually used to. Dave lives in Lexington, and I actually used to work with the guy that does afternoons, and I guess he's a pretty big host in Lexington now.
He does. He has a sports call-in show on, like you said, WLAP, which is 6:30 a.m., which is a big station, and he has gotten big into UK Athletics.
Well, as long as he's still a Ravens fan, that's all I.
I'm sure he is.
Well, I mean, he's originally from Baltimore. We're talking about a guy named Matt Walsh. He's a really good host. I mean, I'm glad he's doing really well over there. He's
Well, if he was a Ravens fan, I'm sure he is not a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
well, and I know Lexington is Bengals country.
It is.
I've spent enough time there to know. I almost ended up as the producer of the morning show there. They have a syndicated morning show, and Matt did his best to try to get me in there, but
Hey,
I
small world.
yeah, it is a very small world, and I'm happy I'm in Wyoming though.
Good
I kind of like it a little bit better here, although I was expecting a lot drier weather when I moved out here, and it's done nothing but rain since I got here, which is unusual for this area. So I guess I just brought green weather with me. But if you're just joining us, we're talking with Dave Moss and Judy Colgan from Friends of Coal West. friendsofcoalwest.org is the website. Make sure you go and sign up. It doesn't cost anything. They're not asking for any money, which actually brings up the question, where do you guys get your funding?
Well, actually, let me go back, and I want to go back. We were talking earlier about some of the history of Friends of Coal.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, so of course, Friends of Coal was started in 2001 West Virginia, and as the movement grew over the years from 06 and 07, and Kentucky officially started the Friends of Coal movement, it started taking shape, and people started identifying with it. Local news media affiliates, TV, print, and the environmental groups quickly started writing editorials and doing a variety of stuff saying Friends of Coal is nothing more than just another PR campaign by coal mining executives trying to put a new positive spin on the industry. And so one of the things we've done in Kentucky that's kind of totally blown that theory out of the water is that we actually now have Friends of Coal license plates that you can actually literally go and purchase at your local county clerk and put on the back of your vehicle. These are license plates that cost around $34. We do receive $10 in a donation back from the license plate, but in 4 years since we started the license plate campaign, we have sold over 70,000 license plates in Kentucky. These are folks willing to go down, take their personal money, buy the plate, and say, I support Friends of Coal. And that has really blown it out of the water where you see those things. And a lot of plates have been sold in non-traditional coal mining communities, Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, places where that's more than 2 to 3 hours away from the nearest coal mine. So it kind of blows that theory out of the water that it's just a PR campaign. This is a solid grassroots foothold, a grassroots army, so to speak, that has emerged in Kentucky and helps defend the coal industry.
Yeah, and when you hear these accusations, it's big coal executives trying to put a good face on their but they're saying that like would be a bad thing. I mean, I just don't see the problem with trying to put a good face on an industry that provides almost half of the electricity in this country.
It does. Now I will say, most people know this, that coal did have a downtick in the market in the last couple of years. We did produce about 49% of the nation's electricity. It dipped down in 2012 to about 37%. Natural gas did have an increase. We are seeing it go back up from 37 to about 43% in the first 2 fiscal quarters of 2013 due to natural gas prices rising. But of course, natural utilities are forced to plan for the long term as a normal business would, and so they're actually having to daily analyze the cost analysis benefit on natural gas or coal. Which do we use, and when do we switch over to natural gas? And so hopefully coal continues to make a resurgence. We'll see.
Yeah, and one thing I've learned from talking with some of the people in the industry, coal is still probably the most cost-effective way to produce power. I mean, compared to natural gas, which prices fluctuate and supplies can be a little bit sketchy sometimes. I mean, right now we're seeing a resurgence because of all the natural gas mining in North Dakota, but that could change at any point. And coal is always there, and it's also the most efficient way to produce the electricity as well.
It is. It is considered one of the most effective ways, or most affordable. But of course, there's a variety of factors for natural gas. If they start exportation to foreign countries of natural gas, what does that do to the prices? Does that make it skyrocket and coal becomes more stable around? to burn more effectively. So we'll see. But I think the future still is yet to be determined.
Right, and there's a place for all of these forms of electricity. I mean, generating. I mean, there's a place for natural gas. There's a place for hydroelectric. There's a place for nuclear.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have all the options, that kind of hamstrings you.
Absolutely. And at the Coal Association and Wells Friends of Coal, we do advocate that we need every form of energy development in the United States to maintain that competitive advantage in the marketplace worldwide.
Yeah, and I mean, and you don't see. And this is one thing I always like to point out anytime somebody mentions the regulations in this country. I mean, you don't see China and India putting restrictions on their industry like that, and they're producing way more pollution than any of our plants would ever produce. So it doesn't even really make sense. I mean, it wouldn't make that much of a difference anyway.
You are correct. They are lacking some of the environmental controls that the United States has in place at the present, but. We'll see what happens. I think the president has let it be well known on some of his positions on coal in the United States.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Believe me, I've spent a lot of time talking about that old war on coal.
Yeah.
But I guess, but I mean that's not what you're here to really talk about. So I guess. So where do we go from here? I mean, what's next for you?
Well, one thing that we'd like to encourage everybody, we do have a Facebook page, Friends of Coal West, and social media has become a big part of everyone's lives at this point. We actually had a speaker at our annual conference talking about how the opposition can be a very small amount of people, but they can build a very big army by using social media with Twitter and Facebook and have a stronger, bigger voice just because they are active. So we need our Friends of Coal people to be active as well in the support, because you take a handful of people who can build a big army against you, and we know we have more people supporting us than we have against us. So we just need our supporters to become more vocal and more active in their support.
Yeah, and people, I mean, that really is an important thing to remember, that social media, I think, and some of the environmental groups were kind of early on the bandwagon for social media, so they've gotten a little bit of a head start, and that really has helped them out a lot to try to get because like you said, one person can basically speak for 10,000 people or 100,000 people. It's really easy for anyone, and it doesn't cost anything, and they can do this all day long. And basically, and mainstream media has actually started treating Twitter and Facebook pages like they're real news. And I think that's you got to try to do your best to combat that. And the best thing people can do is go to your Facebook page and just click like on it, go to your website, get the stickers for the car, and do some viral marketing of their own.
Exactly.
You're exactly right. And putting a sticker on your car, the miners putting hard hat decals, encouraging your sons and daughters and cousins and neighbors to sign up. Anybody that supports coal-fired power plants, affordable electricity, you name it, need to be a Friends of Coal. But more importantly, not only be a supporter, but be a visible supporter by using that Friends of Coal emblem. Yeah,
and it doesn't cost anything. I mean, nobody, and it's not often these days that you can get involved in some kind of activism that they're not asking for money. So it's not a bad deal.
You're correct.
Yep. Okay. Well, actually, we're up against our next break, and we'll take a short break. We'll come back and we'll kind of finish things up. We'll get the information out there one more time. We'll leave the lines open if anybody has any questions. There's probably everybody out there probably knows more about coal than I do, so that's probably why they're not calling in. So we'll leave the lines open. News Talk 1270, KIML, Don Carpenter Show. We'll be right back.
No crazy conspiracies, just good local talk. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270, KIML. Call Don right now, 682-1270.
News Talk 1270 KIML. At least I didn't shut the mic off in the middle of the call letters that time. Welcome back to the program, and we're in the last segment of the hour. We're talking with Dave Moss and Judy Colgan of Friends of Coal West. The website is friendsofcoalwest.org. And I guess since we only have a couple minutes, I guess we'll just kind of get the information out again about how everybody can get involved.
We'd like to encourage you all to visit our website, which is friendsofcoalwest.org. Visit our Facebook page, which is Friends of Coal West, and join us in the efforts just to support the industry. Like we said, we know that most of the people in Wyoming realize that coal is the economic builder of the state. And so we want to just encourage everyone to join us, be a part of us, build the support, and with Dave's encouragement, with Friends of Coal Kentucky, we are trying to move this forward. We're just in our beginning stages of it. We really appreciate the support from Friends of Coal Kentucky, and we're moving forward.
And to kind of further what Judy had said, Wyoming is very much an important player. You know, Judy's organization will go into 8 western states, and so Wyoming will be that right flank pretty much of one of those states. And so very important for the folks of Wyoming to get on board and to sign up friendsofcoalwest.org to help participate, so they can they could probably be one of the leading states and probably number of participants signed up, hopefully in a short number of months due to the popularity of coal in the state of Wyoming. But if we're going to move forward collectively, though, Wyoming definitely has to be part of the mix.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if you go to the website and sign up, they send you the stickers and everything, and you put them on your car. And when somebody asks you about it, you can tell them that coal is not a bad thing, and you can explain that all the things you see on TV about coal, they're just not true.
Well, and I think one of the going back several years, coal keeps the lights on, is kind of the familiar slogan in a lot of people's psyche, that coal keeps the lights on. Coal is that economic generator for the different coal-producing states in the United States, but more importantly, still producing a lot of electricity for a lot of folks across the nation. Yeah,
and not only does it produce the electricity, but it basically West Virginia is another state like Wyoming that they only have 2 things. They have tourism and they have coal. And that's basically where Wyoming is at this point.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Now, Kentucky, when we started Friends of Coal back there several years ago, of course, we have bourbon, we have horses, more of a diverse economy, and so we thought maybe it'd be a daunting task, but we were very pleasantly shocked on the number of folks that came out of the woodwork, so to speak, and said, I support you guys, how do I sign up? And so it quickly took off.
So you have bourbon, you have horses, you have Toyotas, and you have coal.
And you have coal. Manufacturing, we have UPS and Ford as well. So Kentucky and the governor of our state of Kentucky has been a big supporter. And when he goes to China and he goes to Japan and he does economic development trips, I think usually the first or second statement out of his mouth is, besides I'm Governor Steve Beshear from Kentucky, is we're a coal-producing state, and we have cheap electricity, affordable electricity, and that has been the economic message for Kentucky and hence Wyoming as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I want to thank Dave and Judy for coming in. Friendsofcoalwest.org. Go and sign up on their Facebook page as well. So I want to thank you guys for coming in. If we can be of any help at all, please just let us know.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
We appreciate the time.
Yep. And with that, we'll be back. News Talk 1270, KIML, Don Carpenter Show. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Out of town and still want to listen?
Stream the show at DonCarpenterRadio.com.
Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.